The National Hurricane Center in Miami issues watches, warnings, forecasts, and analyses of hazardous tropical weather, with the goals of saving lives, mitigating property loss, and improving economic efficiency. The director of the Hurricane Center is Ken Graham. Last year was his first season in that position.
Yeah, the big takeaways from my first season, of course, 2018 we had Florence and Michael, but it reiterates the importance of several things. One of them is the inland rain. We saw with Florence just so much rain. Of course, the year before that we saw that with Harvey, but the other part of it is timelines. You look at Michael, it's an interesting situation. You look at the strongest storms that this country's ever had, and I'm talking the Category 5s, every single one of them were tropical storms at 3 days out.
To issue advisories and produce forecasts and analyses of tropical weather, the meteorologists at the Hurricane Center depend heavily on data gathered by Hurricane Hunter aircraft.
Well, the aircraft can really fly right into the storm, and they provide us direct measurements of how strong the storm is in terms of the wind, the central pressure, where the storm's located, information about the size of the storm, and that serves as the basis for the starting point of our whole forecast process. The human forecaster at the Hurricane Center takes all that data from the aircraft, combines it with satellite and all the other information we have, and basically starts off making an analysis of the storm and then initialize the model guidance, and then data from the aircraft actually get into the numerical models as well, helping to improve the forecast of the track and the intensity of the storms. And then that helps us make a better forecast out to 5 days of the track, the intensity, the size, and also all the hazard information associated with the different storms.
The hurricane hunters are responsible for gathering data over a huge piece of real estate that includes parts of both the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans.
We have a fairly wide area of responsibility all the way east from 52.5 west, which is about 500 miles or so east of the Leeward and Windward Islands, all the way west to Hawaii. So there are some areas many areas like the Gulf of Mexico, the Western Caribbean, the area east of Florida that we can reach from our home bases. But we also have a forward operating location in St. Croix in the U.S. Virgin Islands, and that's where we'll fly to pick up storms coming across from Africa.
And as soon as a fledgling storm shows signs of life, the National Hurricane Center begins its coordination efforts to help get the word out about the possible threats.
Yeah, it starts early, even from the formation stage when we're sending the aircraft out to go look at possible areas of development. We're already doing decision support briefings, not only with federal partners like FEMA, but also your state agencies, state emergency management and local emergency management. We're already starting that coordination, but it's not just that external coordination, it's internal too. With the weather forecast offices, they have the best expertise right on the ground in their local areas, so we're already talking to them, we're already coordinating with them, getting that going. So it begins as soon as you have a cloud that doesn't look right, we're already starting to coordinate that message to get the longest lead time that we can.
And the Hurricane Center works closely with the media as well. The importance of a consistent message can't be overstated.
I think in the end, when there's a hurricane, it's amazing how we're all on the same team. And we can't get the word out without everybody in the media and everybody in the emergency management and elected officials. So in the end, it's about the saving lives portion of this.
Although the high-end, so-called major hurricanes, the Category 3, 4, and 5 storms, tend to get most of the public's attention, the truth is that lower-rated hurricanes, as well as some tropical storms and even tropical disturbances that aren't named, can produce devastating effects.
It's interesting when you talk to people that you hear things like, well, it's just a tropical storm, or just a nothing because it has no name, or just a Category 1. There's no such thing as a hurricane just a, I absolutely promise, because look at the data. In the last 10 years, Category 1 storms have produced $103 billion worth of damage, and they've killed 175 people. There's no such thing as a hurricane just a. We have to get over that.
Atlantic hurricane season is officially June to November, so December through May is pretty much the off-season at the Hurricane Center. However, in addition to writing final reports on the previous season's storms and spending some time on the road for hurricane awareness tours, there's still plenty to do for Hurricane Center staff during those months.
The off-season is often as busy as the season. So we have a tropical analysis forecast branch. They do the marine forecasting for the Pacific, the Atlantic. It's a large area they forecast for, so they're busy year-round. The other part of it is we bring emergency managers to the Hurricane Center to do the training on the products. We look at everything that can happen. We do scenarios and exercises. We bring international partners in to be able to do the same thing. So we're conducting many classes. And the other part is, this is one that a lot of people don't know. We bring internally weather service forecasters to our building to talk about effective messaging and how you message all the different aspects of a hurricane.
When a tropical cyclone is devastating enough that using its name again would be insensitive or confusing, the National Hurricane Center will retire that tropical cyclone's name.
Behind the scenes, there's something called the World Meteorological Organization. It's part of the UN. So there's a treaty that has countries to come together. We're Region 4. So if you think about it, you don't need every country doing a forecast, everybody naming different names. Think about that confusion. So we come together. So there's a set of names, and when there's a particularly strong storm, you have a lot of fatalities or a big impact, not just in the United States, it could be any one of those countries, we retire the names. So we actually vote and retire the names. I'm chair of that committee. Each country votes to say which ones we're going to retire and propose new names. And once the new names are proposed, we literally have a show of hands. We count the hands. And once those hands are, I pretty much send down the gavel and say, we have a new name. And that's how we rename the hurricanes. That's how we retire the hurricanes.
All told, 89 Atlantic storm names have been retired since 1954, including Florence and Michael from 2018, and infamous storms that affected Pennsylvania, such as Hazel, Agnes, and Ivan. For Weather World, I'm John Nese.